Welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football, but with a special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is my Week 13 Rivalry Week review. What a rivalry week we had. I'm your host, Blair Parks. Holla at you, boy. It's great to be back with you. My apologies. Normally, I have my review episodes on Mondays, but here it is, Tuesday morning, a little bit behind after the long holiday weekend, and I hope all of you enjoyed your Thanksgiving holiday with friends and families, whatever you did, whether you traveled or stayed at home. Hopefully you had time to enjoy the football. This has been a season unlike any other, with all of the parity, the chaos, the upsets, the rise and fall of the haves, and the rise of some of the have-nots in college football. It has been something I hope all of you have been able to enjoy and take some time out to just give thanks for that, to see what exactly we have. This is such an excellent and great sporting event, and you know how I feel. I do this with you week in and week out throughout this season, not for any sort of monetary gain, but if it eventually arose from this, I would be up to listening to that possibility. But I do it because I simply want to share my love and passion of college football with all of you. So before I move forward, I like to take this time to, as always, thank you. I appreciate all you do for the show. I always welcome any likes, any shares, any subscribes. Comment the hell out of what I say. If there's something that I missed, or if I perform an on-air gaffe, call me out on it. Remember, I basically sit in front of this camera, hit record, and then send. I don't do any sort of editing, because at that point, it becomes work. I am not a professional. This is strictly just a hobby. So if there is something I've missed, let me know about it. If there is a bit of breaking news or a subject you would like me to share on air for discussion with you, the black and gold family, and all college football fans alike, feel free, comment. I will be more than happy to share that on the air with you, the viewers. And just to let you know, once again, why I believe this is hands down the greatest sporting event and spectacle we have in this nation, just look at what Rivalry Week brought us. High drama all over the place, playoff implications, division title crowns, championships up for grabs, advancement to your conference title games, just simply getting to the 6th win, to play a 13th, to become bowl eligible. So much to play for over Rivalry Week, Week 13. And just instant classics. Instant classics. These games that I'll discuss here shortly, most of them would be up for Best Picture if this was the Academy. If it was award season, they would all be up for Best Picture. The only thing that they are missing is the appropriate soundtrack. So please, somebody get on the phone, call up John Williams, hands down the greatest composer of our time, and he can put some sound to the action that we saw on the gridiron. Kind of a little sidebar here. I definitely believe, to me, the greatest soundtrack in any movie of all time. You know me, I'm a nerd, I'm a dork, especially for all things sci-fi. So Star Wars, absolutely. The score for Star Wars by John Williams doesn't get much better than that. But what gives you the goosebumps more than hearing the Jaws theme? When the 30-foot great white is stalking its prey and then attacks and appears out of nowhere. Hands down the greatest movie soundtrack that I can possibly think of or ever imagine, but let me know if you agree or disagree with that. Kind of a sidebar there. But this is why nothing compares to college football. I know a lot of you out there would say, college football, it's second rate, it's amateur athletes, it's little boys playing a big boy game. That's right. I'm looking at you, Zach, my brother-in-law, some of his famous last words. But nothing compares to it. If you honestly can sit there and say straight-faced that the NFL is better than college football, I tell you to lay off the drugs. Put down the heroin. Put down the cocaine. Put down these drugs. Put down the meth. I know, Rick James said it, and I understand that cocaine's a hell of a drug, but put down the drugs if that's what you fully believe. And if you are one who says Major League Baseball is better, or the NBA, or the NHL, NASCAR, MLS, I say to you, put down the bottle. What are you thinking? I respect your opinions. I have love for all sports, so I respect your opinion, but obviously I adamantly disagree. You are missing out if that's what you truly believe. I mean, denial just ain't a river in Africa, folks. Look inward and ask yourself, especially you NFL fans. And by my admission, and I've said this before, I don't have time to give up both my Saturdays and my Sundays in the fall. So I have lost grasp and interest in the NFL. If it's on, I will watch. But let me just share this with you. When you look at the passion, the camaraderie, the celebration, the tradition that Rivalry Week presented us as fans and individuals, sports fans just in general, not just college football fans or fans of those teams, look at some of these NFL games and stats. And these are absolutely 100% correct. The Sunday night NFL game between the Browns and the Ravens. I'm sorry, the first half was unwatchable. 6-3 at the half was the score. How is that entertainment? How is that a good product? As consumers, how can we be happy with that? The final score ended up being 16-10. Another example, even worse. The Eagles versus the Giants on Sunday. At the half, it was 3-0. How is that impressive? How is that a better brand of football than college? The final score was 13-7 in that ball game. The Chargers versus Broncos, 14-7 at the half. Another example of how can you sit there and say college football is matched? It's not. I'm sorry. 28-13 was the final score in that ball game, so the scoring did pick up slightly. On Thanksgiving Day, the Bears versus the Lions, 13-7 at the half, 16-14 the final score. And currently, as I'm getting this episode prepped, I do have on in the background, or I did, the Monday night game between the Seahawks and the Washington Football Club, 9-9 at the half. Are you freaking kidding me? Those of you NFLites, you NFL fans, I respect you. I got much love for you. But come on. How can you say college football is not better? I just don't understand. Boom, mic drop. There's your proof. It is undeniable. After me saying that to you, if you still believe the NFL is where it's at and college is second rate, well, quite frankly, you're living in a dream world, Neo. You are. Sorry. So some storylines that I'm going to share with you, and I will expand on these here later. Tune in. Some storylines from Rivalry Week. Bedlam, well, that's exactly what it was. It was bedlam, which the definition of bedlam is a scene of uproar and confusion between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. There was MACtion, a MAC attack, the Mid-American Conference in full effect between Miami of Ohio and Kent State. Those teams played for the MAC East Division crown. I'll get to that game in a little bit as well. It was an Iron Bowl to remember. Big time game. Huge implications moving forward for Alabama's playoff hopes. And the Iron Bowl is the yearly rivalry between Alabama and Auburn. I'll definitely speak more on that game here shortly as well. And this year's edition of The Game, a game which we did not have last year because of a COVID cancellation. The Game, and what a game it was, between Ohio State and Michigan. The Big Ten East Division crown on the line, and absolute playoff implications on the line as well. And last, but certainly not least, how the West was won. How the Big Ten West division race came down to the last weekend between two teams, our Iowa Hawkeyes and the Wisconsin Badgers. Tune in and I will share with you how the West was won. So those are the early storylines that are setting up my key matchups, and give you some reaction to those here in a bit. Now, next thing I'd like to go ahead and give a little bit of shout out, some praise and some love to those teams who now are going bowling. These following teams did earn a victory, which will get them a 13th game as they became bowl eligible. In the ACC, Virginia Tech, whose coach was fired and dismissed just a handful of weeks ago, they defeated their in-state rival, Virginia, on the road to get to 6 wins. In the Big Ten, Maryland defeated Rutgers, which was a battle of 5 and 6 teams on the road. So Maryland, they're going bowling this season. In the SEC, and one little side tip, because I do like to give you tidbits of history. That's how I roll. I'm a huge fan and student of history. That is the first bowl. This is the first time that Maryland will go bowling since 2016. Extra little golf clap there for the Terrapins. In the Big 12, West Virginia, they defeated Kansas on the road to get to their 6th win. In the SEC, we had 2 Blue Bloods who earned bowl eligibility the last week of the year. Florida defeated their in-state rival, Florida State, and LSU defeated a ranked Texas A&M squad. Well done, Gators. Well done, Aggie. Or well done, Tigers. Go Tigers. So the LSU sends my guy, our beloved Cajun, Coach Ed Ogeron, out on a high note. He will not be coaching in the bowl game. He has now separated. We knew that happened early this season. No longer the coach at LSU. In the American Athletic, Tulsa defeated SMU on the road to get to bowl eligibility. And Memphis defeated Tulane at home to get to 6 wins. Conference USA, a lot of action in Conference USA. Old Dominion defeated Charlotte, which was a battle of 5 and 6 teams. Old Dominion gets the better of the Miners. They're going bowling. Middle Tennessee State defeated FAU, another battle of 5 and 6 teams. MTSU gets the victory on the road to get to bowl eligibility. And North Texas, that's right, North Texas defeated previously ranked and undefeated UTSA, the Roadrunners, a team that I've been high on all year. Unfortunately, their magic runs out. They've had a great season, but like I said, they are no longer undefeated, and they will not be ranked when the updated playoff rankings get unveiled tonight. So well done to the Mean Green of North Texas. They pick up their 6th win. Little side note, little tidbit of history for you. That is the last time, we got a little tongue-tied there. The last time that North Texas defeated a ranked team was 1974. And why does that really matter? Because the coach at North Texas University of the Mean Green was somebody you might have heard of. At least you Hawkeye fans know where I'm going. The coach of that team in 1974 that beat a ranked San Diego State squad was the one and only legendary Iowa coach, Hayden Fry, who took over on the sidelines in Iowa City in 1979 and totally revamped and turned the Iowa program around. So fun little tidbit there. The Iowa connections there. I had to throw that in. So, man, a lot happened in Conference USA. In the Mountain West, Hawaii defeated Wyoming on the road at altitude to get to their 6th win. So there was a lot. So congratulations to those preceding teams as they got to bowl eligibility. Well done. Your fans appreciate it. Nothing like having that 13th game for development. It's huge for, like I said, us, the fans, but also for team development, building strength, and building some camaraderie among your teammates and the depth. So big time. Well done to those teams. Now a few more FYIs and tidbits for you that arose from Week 13 Rivalry Week. BYU, with their victory over USC, they improved to a perfect 5-0 against the Pac-12 conference this season. That is impressive, especially since BYU is an independent squad, but they are undefeated, perfect against the Pac-12. I believe they did defeat USC, Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, and Washington State. Well done, BYU. And speaking of Washington State, they did, in this year's edition of the Apple Cup between them and their in-state rival, Washington State did pull off the victory, ending a 7-game losing streak in the Apple Cup rivalry game, and also picked up their first victory in the series in Seattle on the road since it was 2007. So well done, Cougars. All of the upheaval that happened to them this season, their coach was dismissed at the mid-season point, and they rallied to get to bowl eligibility and win the Apple Cup. Well done. Breece Hall, the Iowa State running back, he was a preseason potential Heisman Trophy candidate. Iowa State did not have the season that they were forecasted to have. Remember, Vegas had them winning 10 games. Definitely came up a little short. But Breece Hall, he recorded a rushing touchdown on Saturday for a NCAA record 24th straight game. He runs into the record books with that touchdown. Well done, Breece Hall. And now a couple of tidbits and FYIs concerning our beloved black and gold squads. As usual, I will start with Missouri. And some of you are wondering, why Missouri? We can tell you're decked out in the Iowa gear. You've got Herky behind you hanging out. For those of you who are first-time tuners and watchers, I currently reside in the Show Me State. I have plenty of friends and family who are alums or fans of Missouri. They are my local Division I Power 5 conference team. That's why I include them, and they also wear the black and gold of, like, our Hawkeyes. But me, I grew up in Northwest Illinois, hour and 15 minutes from Iowa City, where I would go and watch our Hawkeyes play week in, week out as a child and a young adult. But some tidbits. So starting with Missouri running back Tyler Beatty. He has been their do everything piece on offense. He has been their first, second, and third option offensively. For his efforts this season, he has had a great season. Hopefully, he does not go overlooked. And in this case, he has not. He has been chosen as a finalist for the Doak Walker Award, which is given annually to the nation's best running back. Well done, Tyler Beatty. You're on the list. He's got every opportunity to bring home the trophy as the nation's best running back. Tyler Linderbaum, who was a preseason All-American center at Iowa. He definitely made some accolades this past week. He has been named a finalist for the Lombardi Award, given annually to the nation's best offensive or defensive lineman. Also, for the Remington Trophy, which is given annually to the nation's best center. And he's a finalist for the Outland Trophy Award, given annually to the nation's best interior lineman. Well done, Tyler Linderbaum and Tyler Beatty, the Tyler and Tyler Show. Well done. You represent us. You make us proud. So there's a little bit of additional FYIs and tidbits for you following Week 13's action. Now let's get to some of my key matchups and some of the rivalry games revisited that I already brought up during my storylines. Let's start with the Bedlam rivalry game, the game for control, bragging rights in the Sooner State. Number 10 Oklahoma at number 7 Oklahoma State. OK State and Coach Mike Gundy changed the narrative against their in-state rival. Coming into the game, Coach Mike Gundy was 2-14 as Oklahoma State head coach against Oklahoma. And they held on for a key 37-33 victory. They advanced to the Big 12 title game this week to take on Baylor. And with a potential playoff berth well within their grasp, if they win, I believe they are in the college football playoff field. They will secure a bid. That's what I believe. We'll see what that plays out. So well done, Oklahoma State. Big time victory for you and your program and your fans. Now the next key matchup was the showdown in the MAC East Division Crown Showdown between Miami of Ohio at Kent State. In overtime, Kent State, the Golden Flashes, turned back the Miami of Ohio Redhawks on a failed 2-point conversion, securing the 48-47 victory, and they claimed the MAC East Division, and they advanced to the MAC title game this weekend against Northern Illinois. So well done, Kent State. And that is a huge victory, especially for our Iowa Hawkeyes, for their profile and their strength of schedule. If you recall, Iowa played Kent State during the early portion of the season, during the non-conference season. They hosted them. They played in Iowa City. Kent State kept it close. It was a one-possession game at the half. Iowa pulled away late. So that would be a good victory for Iowa. If Kent State can win the MAC conference title, they would have a straight-up victory against a Division I conference winner. So we will be cheering hard for Kent State this weekend in the MAC title game. Next game, the Iron Bowl, the annual rivalry matchup between Alabama and Auburn. This year, number 3 Auburn took it on the road to the Plains at Auburn. What a game it was. I mean, definitely was one to remember. Alabama continued to look unimpressive in victory, though. I've got to say this. Over another 6-loss team in Auburn. Well, they now have 6 losses, but they had 5 losses coming into the game. So they did not look the part again, even though they were victorious. They drove 91 yards in the closing minutes for a touchdown to force overtime. At that point, it was tied 10-10 at the end of regulation. And actually, this was the first ever time the Iron Bowl went into overtime. Another additional historical tidbit there for you. Ultimately, Alabama pulled out a 24-22 victory in 4 overtimes to keep their playoff hopes alive. And like I said, I mean, they looked unimpressive, but then again, that depends on your point of view. If you're a fan of them, if you're rooting against them, it's just, I don't know. I think now when it comes down to it, I'll talk more about this later this week on my episodes, probably the the championship week preview show on Thursday that I believe now Alabama has to win, beat Georgia to get in the playoff. That's what I think is going to happen now with them, but as I said, I'll talk more about that later. Next, in Conference USA. The Conference USA East Division crown was up for grabs. Western Kentucky traveled to Marshall, trailing 14-6 at the half. Western Kentucky and Heisman hopeful quarterback Bailey Zappi, who's one hell of a model American, I must say. It's a great story about Bailey Zappi. Tune in tomorrow. I'll be giving you my updated Heisman Trophy race. Maybe Bailey Zappi is on my short list. Tune in tomorrow. The Hilltoppers in the second half, Bailey Zappi and the offense turned it on and pulled away for a 53-21 victory, winning the Conference USA East Division and punching their ticket to the Conference USA title game against UTSA this weekend. Big time game there at the non-Power 5 level. So congratulations to the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Next one, a big one, the game. With the Big Ten East Division crown up for grabs and absolute playoff implications, number 2 Ohio State traveled to number 5 Michigan. And what a showdown we had. We missed this game last year. It's great that this rivalry game mattered. It has been far too long that this was simply put in the preseason magazines, in your preseason predictions as a loss for Michigan. It was great to see it matter again. The Khakis and Coach Jim Harbaugh and Michigan were both able to exercise their demons against Ohio State. The game was controlled throughout by the Maize and Blue to a big-time score of 42-27 victory. Big-time victory for Michigan. It was their first win over Ohio State since 2011. Hard to believe. And the victory was primarily due to the efforts of the legs of the Michigan running back, Hassan Haskins. He tallied 169 yards rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns against Ohio State, which ties a Michigan team record. Well done, Hassan Haskins. And that ends the playoff hopes for Ohio State and absolutely keeps Michigan's intact as they advance to the Big Ten title game, which is their first ever in the history of their program since the Big Ten established 2 divisions. So congratulations to the Maize and Blue of Michigan. Win the Big Ten title game, and they are in the playoff field. So a big-time game coming up in the Big Ten title game. I will unveil to you next who their opponent will be. But one thing about Hassan Haskins, I got to wonder how he feels, knowing he's the MVP of that game for the winning team, his Michigan Wolverines, other than going to Disneyland or Disney World. I wonder how else he feels. I mean, when you look at it, when you quote the great Al Bundy, who said in his show that the moment, the day, the game, he scored 4 touchdowns in one game for Polk High. It was the greatest moment and day of his life. So how does Hassan Haskins feel after scoring 5 in a monumental victory over their hated rivals, the Ohio State Buckeyes? I would like to ask him that. But now, last but not least, how the Big Ten West was won. Coming into rivalry weekend, the Big Ten West crown was up in the air. It came between 2 teams, the Wisconsin Badgers and our Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, to bring you back up to speed on this, Wisconsin, they had the advantage. Because of their head-to-head victory over Iowa, it was very simple for Wisconsin. They played on the road at their rival Minnesota for the Paul Bunyan Axe. They win, they would punch their ticket to the Big Ten title game. Iowa needed to take care of business of themselves, start off with that, beat Nebraska on the road on Black Friday, and then hope that Minnesota could knock off Wisconsin. Then they would advance to the Big Ten title game. So Wisconsin did have the upper hand in this race between these two teams. But this is what happened. Iowa needed to take care of business, as I stated. They did. They pulled off a 28-21 victory over Nebraska on the road. So they sat back, had to hurry up and wait and watch the Minnesota-Wisconsin game. And the winner is, that's right, Iowa. Our Iowa Hawkeyes are advancing to the Big Ten title game. Minnesota upset Wisconsin 23-13. So that then punches Iowa's tickets. They win their ticket. They win the Big Ten West, and they advance to their second ever Big Ten title game, first since 2015, against the Michigan Wolverines. The matchup is set, and I am so excited. A little bit of a golf clap. Let's rejoice. All black and gold fans rejoice. We are so pumped up. Not only will we have a 13th game, but we're going to have a 14th game at Iowa. And to the winner of that game, of Iowa-Michigan, I've already said what's on the line. Michigan, they win. They're going to the playoffs. Iowa, you get the victory. You're going to the Rose Bowl. Maybe even more. I'm actually going to discuss this scenario of Michigan and Iowa, and I'm actually going to have a very special episode tomorrow. I usually always have a midweek episode. I will have that tomorrow, and it's primarily going to be an in-depth preview of the Big Ten title game between Iowa and Michigan. I will lay it on the line, the keys to victory, the matchups to watch, the implications if you win, if you lose, and how is Michigan going to win? How is Iowa going to win? Definitely want to tune in for tomorrow's very special edition of my midweek show. And I will also give you a very quick update of the Heisman Trophy standings in my eyes. Who do I see as being on the short list to get an invite to NYC to take home the Heisman Trophy hardware? And also, I've got to give you an update on the coaching carousel that is spun off the tracks. It is out of control. I mean, midweek, I've been telling you the last few weeks, I cannot wait to see how the coaching carousel is going to play out in the offseason. The dominoes fell during the year with coaching firings and vacancies at USC, LSU, several other Power 5 programs, Florida. Last week we had 14 coaching changes. It has only gotten worse. The dominoes already had fallen, and now it is time for an equal and opposite reaction. Just like Newton said, his third law, I will bring you up to speed on some of the breaking, unbelievable news in some coaching hirings. And also, we're going to have some additional openings, especially at a couple of blue blood programs. So make sure you tune in for tomorrow's very special midweek show of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. So cannot wait for the Big Ten title game. That's a 7 o'clock kick Central Time from Indianapolis. So excited. Cannot wait for it. And like I said, I'll talk more about that game tomorrow and during my championship weekend preview show, which will be up and airing for your pleasure on Thursday. Next thing I want to get to is kind of give you a little bit of reaction and analysis and thoughts on how our black and golds did this past weekend during Rivalry Week. They were both in action. Missouri traveled to Arkansas, and number 16 Iowa traveled to Nebraska, both on Black Friday, by the way. So let me go ahead and share with you my thoughts, analysis, and reaction to their games. Let's go ahead and start with the black and gold of the Missouri Tigers. They were at their border rival, Arkansas, and the Battle Line Trophy was up for grabs. Missouri currently had possession of it following last year's victory. Not Missouri's day. Overall, the final score was 34-17 Arkansas. Game was never really in doubt for the Hogs. Missouri absolutely struggled at times with some issues, but no, I did pick Arkansas to win. I'm not surprised by the victory, but I thought that Missouri would keep this game a little bit closer, a little more competitive. 34-17 on the scoreboard's not necessarily telling. This game was not as close as that scoreboard tells you. But they do have their bowl game to look forward to. That's a huge step in the right direction for Coach Drinkowitz and his current rebuild job going on at Missouri. Let me share with you some of the game trends and stats of this game. Connor Bazelak definitely had himself a day to forget. I definitely think he is still banged up from an injury he sustained several weeks ago. Doesn't look comfortable, doesn't look healthy. He still absolutely has cement feet that when the pocket breaks down, he's in trouble. He cannot get away. His numbers on the day, he was 10 of 26 passing for 65 yards, 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. I definitely think Connor could use the rest, recuperate before the bowl game. I expect he will be back. But that's really what it comes down to, is how good their quarterback play is going to be, if they will be competitive, win or lose in their bowl game. And that matchup against two is still to be determined. Tyler Beatty, though, already said Doak Walker Award finalist, and he is deserving, and he has earned that through his efforts the entire season. He had himself a day. He rushed for 219 yards with 1 touchdown. He continues to be the catalyst, the do everything, the make or break offensive piece for Missouri. I mean, what a season he's had. And he has already said publicly he will play in the bowl game rather than doing what a lot of running backs will do who are heading to the NFL. And he will be playing. He will make a roster on someone's team on Sundays next year. He will be in the NFL. Usually a lot of running backs will sit it out to prepare for the draft, not take the chance of getting hurt, which could cause them millions and millions of dollars. But he has already said he will play in the bowl game. So hats off to Tyler for that. Can't wait to see what he does in his last game. Wearing the Missouri uniform, we can't wait. The rush defense. Missouri's rush defense, that has been their Achilles heel, their weakness all year. But they definitely have done much better the last 3 games. They held South Carolina under 60 yards rushing. They held Florida to under 150 yards rushing. And they held a very run-heavy, punch-you-in-the-mouth Arkansas team to only 163 yards on the ground. Well done. Definitely have seen some growth among the Missouri defense during this season. But this game was just undecided by big plays. Arkansas took advantage of a couple of blown coverages, some poor tackling, and a couple of one-on-one shots down the field that went their way. That's really what blew this game open, was just the big plays. If Missouri could have limited a couple of those big plays, they're going to find themselves right there in this game with the Razorbacks, but it was not meant to be. Got to give a shout out to Harrison Mevis. The guy has been an absolute stud. He was 3 for 3 kicking field goals again on Friday. I mean, Tyler Beatty has absolutely been your MVP of your team this season. But I think in second place, Harrison Mevis has been your MVP for the Missouri Tigers. So when I get their bowl destination and their matchup, I will absolutely have a very special bowl edition, a preview of Missouri's bowl game. So stay tuned for that, and cannot wait for their bowl game. And hopefully Coach Drink can send his boys out as seniors, as super seniors, with a W and secure a winning record of 7-6. Next game between our Iowa Hawkeyes and Nebraska. Number 16 Iowa on the road on Black Friday. What a game it was. They did secure the victory 28-21, which ultimately then led them to get to the Big Ten title game. They trailed 21-9 at the start of the fourth quarter. It was 14-6 Nebraska at the half. And then Iowa absolutely turned it on, but also Nebraska does what Nebraska does. And I'm going to talk a little bit further of that here at the end of this. In the fourth quarter, Iowa outscored Nebraska 19-0. That is what won them the game. Caleb Shudak was 4 of 4, kicking field goals. At Iowa, we are all about special teams. That is a huge component to whether we win or lose. Special teams may not be more important to any team out there besides Iowa across the college football landscape. Tyler Goodson had himself a day running the ball. He tallied 156 yards rushing, but did not find the end zone. The defense, they did what Iowa does. They did tighten up in the second half. I mean, Nebraska got their 21 points on 3 drives, and they did damage on those 3 drives. Those 3 drives that ended up with touchdowns, I believe they were drives of 13, 12, and 9 or 10 plays. So they did do some damage against the Iowa defense. But, only giving up 21 points as a road underdog. Yep, you heard that. Even though Nebraska came into the game with a 3-8 record, Iowa was a 1-point underdog on the road. So well done to the Iowa defense. They came up with it when it mattered. They tallied yet again another interception, bringing their total to 22 interceptions on the season, most in the nation by any team in Division I college football. Well done, black and gold defense. And that's really what it was. And this is what led to the 19-0 fourth quarter debacle, if you're a Nebraska fan. At the end of the third quarter, Iowa had just kicked a field goal, making it 21-9. Nebraska gets the ball, gets the possession. They go 3 and out at about a minute and a half into the fourth quarter. So basically, you had a whole quarter to go. What happens on a punt by Nebraska? Iowa gets into the backfield. They block the punt. It ends up in a basically punt and then a pick into the end zone. A beautiful bounce by the ball given to us by the football gods. The blocked punt goes straight up in the air, right into the hands of an Iowa defender, takes it to the house for a touchdown. So that's how the scoring started for Iowa. PAT, it makes it now 21-16 Nebraska. Nebraska gets the ball back. They go 3 and out. Actually, no. Nebraska gets the ball back following the blocked punt score. They end up giving up an intentional grounding in the end zone for a safety. It's now 21-18 Iowa. And then Nebraska kicks it to Iowa. Iowa at that point, they do kick it back to Nebraska. Nebraska goes 3 and out. Iowa responds by driving the field, kicking a game-tying field goal at 21-21. Nebraska gets the ball back yet again. Gives it back to Iowa. They go the length of the field, score a touchdown. Nebraska gets the ball back with a little under 3 minutes to go and 2 timeouts. Can't do anything with it. Iowa secures the victory 28-21. Action-packed fourth quarter. And really another implosion by this Nebraska team. Got to say this, under Scott Frost, who has now just finished up his 4th season in Lincoln. And by the way, 4 losing seasons, but yet he is coming back. Head scratcher there. Sorry, Nebraska fans, it makes little to no sense to me. He now improves. Under Scott Frost, Nebraska is 5-20 in one-possession games. I get it. Sometimes the ball bounces funny, or weird things, strange things happen, or the elements create a turnover. You have some key players out on injury. So I get it. Sometimes these weird, unexplainable things happen, like they're X-Files like. But if you're 5-20, it's a 4-to-1 ratio. You lose those games that are close. That absolutely reflects your leadership, your coaching staff, and your culture. It is undeniable. That's what it is. But yet they are unwilling to make a change in Lincoln. And also with another loss by one possession, they lost 9 games this season by one possession. 9 losses in one possession games. That sets an NCAA football record. Well, congratulations, Nebraska. You're in the record books for all the wrong reasons, but yet you want to retain Coach Scott Frost. Do not understand it. But hey, maybe you guys are a match made in heaven, Scott Frost and Nebraska fans, because I still think the majority of you want him back. You're not willing to give up on him. If it was anybody other than Scott Frost, after 4 years, 4 losing seasons, not getting to a bowl game, you're going to show them the door. But yet he's the native son, the favorite son. You're going to do whatever you can to offer him success. Just don't make sense. And I've got to share a little bit of a snippet from Scott Frost's post-game press conference. I really enjoy watching his press conferences because he continuously, each of the last 4 years, he always throws his players under the bus, throws units under the bus, doesn't hardly ever take any responsibility for what has gone awry there at Nebraska. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never on him. But this is what he said about the Iowa win today, and another implosion. This one was an implosion of epic proportions for Nebraska. A reporter asked him about the blocked punt, basically asked him that was a major turning point in the game. Why have we continued to see these special teams breakdowns throughout the season? And if you're unaware, they have been dreadful in special teams this year. They have been. And this is what Scott Frost responded to that with. Most coaches would have said, I agree, that was an absolute turning point in the game. Momentum was on the side of Iowa. We never were able to get it back. We just weren't able to play to their level from that point on. That's what sparked their comeback victory. And that's something that I have to deal with. I've got to do a better job getting my players involved, getting them in the game to keep their heads up and continue with the effort and their pride. Nope. What does Scott Frost say to that? When that reporter asked him, this is exactly what he said. He said when it came down to that blocked punt, which resulted in a touchdown, the game was over. That was it. Scott Frost. At that point, your team was still leading 21-16. You had a full quarter to play. After that moment, you had 3 more possessions to secure victory, to even tie Iowa after they scored the go-ahead touchdown. That was not game over. He basically saying that is telling the fans, everybody, his players, that, when there's a little bit of adversity, when things don't go our way, we collapse, we fold. It doesn't really matter. I don't care. It's fine. Same old thing. Same old movie. We've seen it time and time again. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. That's what he's saying. That was the game over at that point. That's loser talk. That is Loserville. There's Fansville right now. We love those Dr. Pepper commercials. If there was a Loserville, Scott Frost is the mayor. And he's a mayor for life. You cannot say that. That absolutely shows the culture and the leadership that is going on at Nebraska. But yet they're unwilling to pull the plug. I have no idea why. It makes no sense. But maybe, like I said, maybe you guys are a match made in heaven. If Kirk Ferentz or any Iowa coach would have said that, I know what the hell I'd be doing. I'd be get rid of them fan club president, fan number one. I'd be gathering the mob with our torches and pitchforks and marching to the Iowa Athletic Department, to the football facilities, and demanding their ousting. Or answer us, why would you say that? But, hey, it is what it is. Nebraska, you're happy. And quite frankly, I hope you guys don't win another game as long as he's your head coach. I just hope that as a lesson. But sorry, I kind of went on a little bit of a rant there. That was some analysis and my thoughts on our black and gold squads from Rivalry Week. Last but certainly not least, everybody's favorite segment. I'm going to go back and revisit how Week 13 Pick'em treated me and my former co-host, Charlie, Missouri fan number one. We have an ongoing contest this season for bragging rights. Who has the best record picking these games straight up, not playing the spread, just wins and losses. And after Week 13, Charlie went 10-5. I went 9-6. He now pads his lead with a very few weeks left to go. And also, huge announcement, it was the finals for the inaugural Black and Gold Vlog guest picker tournament. The final pitted Brett against Brad, B versus B. And the title, the winner of the inaugural Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog guest picker tournament is Brett. Congratulations, Brett. 10-5. He went 10-5. That was good enough to bring home the title. The prize is yet to be determined. I will get you something. But I want to take this opportunity to thank all of my guest pickers for their involvement, for their interaction during the season. You made it great. Thank you to Brett, Brad, my brother Anthony, Caleb, Logan, and of course, my kiddos, Connor and Eliana. Next year, I hope to have more of you involved. Maybe make it a little bit longer. It was great. And Brett, you got to come back to defend your title like Daniel LaRusso. Come on back. So congratulations, Brett. Way to bring home bragging rights. So wrap up the summary of the picks. We all got Washington State, Oregon, and Air Force correct. They all won. We all missed Wisconsin, Southern, and Ohio State. Charlie got San Diego State correct. Nobody else did. We all picked Boise State to knock them off. Brad got none correct, that he got himself alone. Brett also did not get none by himself as well. Me, I got Kent State correct. Everybody else picked Miami of Ohio to win. So Kent State went to me. So currently the season standings, Charlie is in the lead. He is 128-67, good for 66% correct. Me, I'm at 120-75, good for 62% correct. So I do trail him by 8 games. I've got some work to do. And also both of us, we hoped to be at 70% or better for the season, picking correctly. Charlie has got a little bit of work to do. He can get there. Me, I think I'm definitely going to come up a little bit short on that. But you never know. This has been the season of the miraculous and the miracles. We'll have to wait and see. So that's it. That's my Week 13 review show. I appreciate your time, your support. I always encourage any likes, any shares, subscriptions. Please subscribe. comment, let me know how I'm doing. Let's spread the word to every college football fan out there and every black and gold fan as well. So tune in tomorrow. Very, very special midweek show. It should be up, I'd say, early afternoon tomorrow. So give you a quick update on the Heisman Trophy race, where I see it at, some big-time breaking news in the coaching carousel. I'm going to spend about 25-30 minutes breaking down the Big Ten title game, give you an in-depth preview of Michigan versus our Iowa Hawkeyes. So tune in tomorrow. Until then, thank you for joining me on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.